Ehud Olmert, welcome to 7:30.
Good afternoon.
Now, 50 hostages are to be released in return for 150 Palestinian prisoners released, but not all of the children who were taken prisoner on October the 7th. Is this the right deal?
It's the only possible deal, I guess. So, what is right and wrong is very hard to define. I think that assuming that this was the only possible deal that could be made now at this stage, it was inevitable. We had to accept it without giving up the decision and the goal that Israel is set out, which is to continue the war against Hamas and to try and eradicate Hamas. The main consideration for Hamas is not the 150 Hamas prisoners that will be released. This is a piece of cake, as one can say. The main thing is the ceasefire for 4 or 5 days, which is an enormously important reprieve for the Palestinians at this stage, for Hamas. And I think that this is something that will make the resumption of hostilities and the military attack more difficult. But again, under the circumstances, we had to accept it.
Hamas says they don't know where all the hostages are. Do you think that's true?
No. I don't think it's true. I think that this is what they say, and Hamas is known for not necessarily saying the truth. They are not committed to any basic values of decency and integrity and humanity. They can afford to say whatever they want. I think that they know, or perhaps if they say that they don't have them, they probably have already murdered them while in captivity, and therefore they don't want to start the process, because there will be probably more stages for similar deals. We still have close to 200 hostages kept there. They don't want to start it with a list of murdered hostages. Therefore, they say that they don't know where they are.
Of course, that's speculation for now. But Hamas, for one thing, we do know is that Hamas is not releasing any of the military prisoners, presumably to negotiate for the release of more significant Hamas prisoners held in Israel. We know in the past that Israel has negotiated deals like that, releasing very large numbers of Hamas fighters, including some of the masterminds of the October 7 attack. Do you think it's possible that Israel would do that again in this case?
Number one, it's very hard to say, because we don't know exactly what is at stake. I mean, we know that the lives of Israelis is at stake, but we don't know how many of those that will not be returned today or in the next few days are still alive. And we therefore have to be very careful. But it depends which government in Israel will be in power. Netanyahu can do everything for everything and for nothing. He has released more than 1,000 Hamas murderers 10 years ago. Amongst them also the present leader of Hamas, Yahya Sinwar. He was a prisoner in Israel, and Netanyahu released him for one Israeli soldier. So now if you have more than 30 Israeli soldiers as hostage, obviously the expectations of Hamas are very high, and we will have to see how this is negotiated and what is at stake and what can be the framework for an agreement. But
now, let me just come in here just to ask you this, because you have been involved in negotiations before. We understand that part of this deal is that it's staggered over a series of days, presumably to see how it goes. But do you have any idea how this will happen, how the hostages will actually be freed and where they will go?
What we know now is that they're going to be released, I think, near the at the border point between Gaza and Egypt, and from there they will be taken with the assistance of the Egyptians. So, what exactly are the technical arrangements? I don't know, but this will be done through the Egyptians, and they were part of the negotiating process in the first place. The Egyptians are very useful, and we have a lot of respect for the goodwill of Egypt, considering all the circumstances. I think that they are doing very well and are acting in a very responsible manner, and we have a lot of respect for them. So they will be very helpful in moving the hostages from the hands of Hamas to the hands of Israeli delegates. But exactly what will be the point and the technical arrangements, I don't know. It's not been published.
And just for your read on Israeli society right now, because clearly this issue of the hostages has caused great turmoil in Israel over the past few weeks. The fact that this deal does not include all of the children, how do you think it will be received because of that?
It's a source of great pain and great concern and great worry for many Israelis. But at the same time, I think there been a poll asking the Israelis, what should we accept this deal or not. I think that the overwhelming majority of Israelis is the overwhelming majority of the Israeli ministers in the cabinet, which is not to be very right-wing, extreme, messianic, somewhat crazy, supported this deal. I think that the majority of Israelis would have supported this deal, praying and urging the government to do everything possible in order to release all the others.
And
but not to release them.
Sorry, go on.
Not to release them because not all can be released in one strike. I think the Israelis would have not supported it. They would have accepted.
And in terms of what Hamas gets out of this, beyond the release of some minors and women in the short term, how will they use the ceasefire in terms of what is likely to be a resumption of hostilities very soon afterwards?
They'll do every possible thing that under their command in order to make the resumption of the war very difficult, very painful, and very costly to Israel. It's obvious. That's what they are after. That's why they wanted the ceasefire. They want a ceasefire because they are ready to fight, and we are committed to continue the fight until we reach the goal that we set out to, which is the eradication of Hamas. So they will make every possible preparation in order to meet the Israelis in a better, more comfortable ground for them.
Let me ask you a final question about that, because the Prime Minister Netanyahu today said that nothing changes in terms of the war aims, that Israel will continue to try to defeat and destroy Hamas. If that means turning to the south of Gaza, where the Hamas leadership, we believe, has dispersed, how can Israel continue that war into the south when so many civilians have moved there from the north?
First of all, I'm not sure that I know how exactly the military operation will take place. You know, I'm not part of the government, and I don't speak for the government, and I'm not. I think I'm not supposed to share, the tactical moves that I'm not familiar with. I think that we will have to move south. I think that we will have to come into Khan Yunis and try and destroy it. I think we'll have to make an exceptional effort to separate the civilian population that was moving there in that area in order to prevent any unnecessary collateral damage. But and I hope for my country, for my people, for my soldiers, that there will be a degree of understanding and tolerance and patience with the international community to understand that they need to destroy Hamas. It represents the only possible chance for a change in the Middle East and a momentum towards peace. between Israel and the Palestinians supported by all the Arab moderate countries. Therefore, it's essential that we will accomplish our goal.
Ehud, Olmert, thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.